Hello everybody, welcome to the week before spring break. I have posted everything this week for those of you who want to work ahead. I know sometimes people either work a lot during spring break or go somewhere, so you do have the opportunity to work ahead. Let's go over it. So this week, one of the things that I want you to do is to revise your paper based on the feedback that you got. When it comes to revising your paper, right, I recommend you have all week. Don't try to do it all at once. Schedule a couple 20-minute, a couple 30-minute periods so you can look at it, see the comments that your friends hopefully they're friends. Some of them might be, some are still strangers, but the comments that your classmates made, you look at them, you decide which ones make the most sense, which ones make you think, yeah, okay, I agree with that, I should do some changing. And the thing with revision is, it really is to see again, revision. It's not editing, right? If you have your first paper and it got say it got a 9 out of 10, and the only thing you lost a point from is because you didn't have your last name and page number right. If you turn in your revised version, which is now worth 100 points, and you fix the page number, that does not mean your paper is going to be 100 out of 100. That means you've got the page number fixed, and that's good, but what about the content? So make sure to watch the earlier video when I talk about revising, even that 3-minute one by the other teacher who goes from the big, middle, and small level, right? Because this is one of those few classes, being an English writing class, where you actually have time and are encouraged to go through the process and not just write this, the night before it's due, or revise this the night before it's due. So one thing you want to do is revise your paper. The other is, we're going to read 3 chapters. They're all about 30 or 40 pages, so it's 100 pages, reasonable for a college class. I almost forgot. So if you want to go on spring break or take that break without any worries, you get everything done by the 25th. Right? I'm sorry, you get everything done by that Monday. I'm not going to have a problem if you get your paper done this week, you read 2 chapters, and you get the 3rd chapter done during break. So I do set yourself up whichever way will guarantee you get the best work done, as opposed to just delaying things. Right? So revise your paper, put it here. Now, some people have already put their paper here, right? And they haven't got all their feedback. Don't worry about that. Get your feedback starting Monday. Over spring break, I will start looking at and grading these papers, and I will take the newest one. So the last one you posted is the one that I will give feedback on. All right, so we've got 3 chapters in the Righteous Mind, and with each chapter there is a discussion. So read chapter 3, and then I have related questions, right? How much do I really know me is related to that. Now, chapter 4 uses the idea of a press secretary to show how our brain works. So this is 4 minutes, I think, about what a press secretary does. Go ahead and watch it before reading chapter 4, because, unless you're into politics, you probably won't know much about a press secretary. Watch this, it'll give you background information and make chapter 4 just that much easier to understand and get more out of, right? And then the post for that is, don't give a damn about my bad reputation, and for fun, there's the video on that from Joan Jett. But one of the ideas is, and I thought this was really interesting, right? One of the biggest reasons we lie is to protect our reputation, right? So, think about all your horrible bosses who have ever taken credit for your work, or said one thing and then another, and then ask yourself, are they protecting their reputation for somebody else? And I think a lot of times the answer is yes. Specific question now for chapter 5, and basically the first couple posts people have done have been great, right? And so I'm assuming that this is going to continue, which allows us some variety in chapter 5. So when you read chapter 5, and come on, computer, you can do it. You've got some options. Instead of me giving you the question that I want you to answer, there's a couple things. we'll get there. Okay, so now the questions that I give you have been in effect one way to make you think about the material, and you've been doing an excellent job of writing, long, detailed, thoughtful answers to these questions. So now, how do you want to do it? You get to pick. So you might have your own questions or thoughts that came up. And if you want to do that, I would put your question in the title, right? And then put your answer in the post. You could, right, share your notes. If you take lots of notes, you could take a picture of them, or you could show what's interesting, right? Create your own questions, which I already talked about. For those of you who are visual, right, you can think about a cartoon or an image that you think captures an idea. And then if you want to do that, right, go ahead, create that image. So like maybe, well, if you're visual, you know what I'm talking about, and you think about an idea or a picture that matches, go ahead, post the picture, and then give us, a little bit of an explanation about, why you drew what you did, right? You could also share a video clip. Now, what I don't want you to do is just, boom, here, cut and paste, there's the video clip and watch it. Share a video clip that you think, adds some more information, or, anything that you think is related. And then, of course, the last thing is, any way you can connect what you read to real life, go ahead and put that in there. So I'm not going to give you a specific question, right? I've done that for the first 4 chapters. Now I want to see what you can do. So it's your turn, and this is good for you, right? So, and it's also called scaffolding, right? Teachers do scaffolding if they're trying to do their job well. Is first I lead you and say, yep, here, have these questions. And then along the way, starts moving it in so you ultimately are in control. Because if you think about it, if we get to the end of this semester and you aren't better at reading books on your own academically and pulling out information that you can use academically, I have done a very poor job of that, right? Because you don't want to be at this point where, you get something to read, and as helpful as it is for instructors to give a handout or say, look for these things, you should be able to have the ability to think, okay, here's the main topics of what's going on in class. Here's what I'm going to look for. So chapter 5, I want you to take the lead on far as what are you going to post. The last thing I want to say is, as you're reading those 3 chapters, there's 2 things that I want you to be thinking about. One, of course, is the material, what he's talking about how the brain works, how morality works, etc. Right? So that would be the, the content of his research, in a sense. The other thing that I really want you to be paying attention to is his journey, right? Because you are also on an educational journey, and you are going to find sometimes your ideas are just don't stand up. Other times your ideas, maybe they do, but nobody's ready to hear it right now. And then what do you do, right? And then the other time is sometimes your ideas align with your professor's ideas, and both of you are pretty much right, but ignoring a couple things, because it's always easier to do that. And then every once in a while, it's like what you're thinking is, even when what you're thinking is super valid and what your instructor is saying is super valid, for the topics that you care about, right? Getting other perspectives, seeing other arguments, and understand that all of this stuff is being put together, shared, evaluated by human beings with all of the flaws that we have and all of the, amazing things too. I mean, how many of these flaws or these things that come up actually come from a person wanting to be helpful? Right? Or come from a person thinking, I think this is what we need, right? Thinking about the greater good. So, welcome to week 9, and I am out of things to say. You've got plenty to do, and I'll be in touch.